Testing. This is a video for what I call, it's kind of a silly name maybe, but I just got used to calling it that, the John Bonham turnaround. Okay? We're going to put on the super sensitive to really get the tone. But the John Bonham drum turnaround, that what I call, here's the super sensitive that I've been, oh no, this is the superphonic. Oh, whatever, we'll use the superphonic. Alright, so, the John Bonham turnaround, which we've all heard innumerable times, right? That turnaround we hear everywhere. When the levee breaks. Okay? 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, okay? Alright, now, usually that's where it will go. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... Sometimes it'll come a little later. I mean, you can do anything you want with this groove. Bonham didn't invent it, but it was like a motif that ran through almost everything he did. I probably should have included this in the Bonham Mojo video, but then the video would have been 10 hours long. So, again, Wanton song, right? It's everywhere. It is, it's everywhere, as I said in the other video. So, but now, here you go. Sometimes it'll go like this. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 4E and a 4E and. Okay, so, we all know the turnaround, but it exists everywhere in Bonham stuff. Okay? Let me put it this way. There's kind of a good exercise which kind of gives you, again, some insight. Now, when I say the Bonham, to me, Bonham's playing like a style. That's kind of why I keep going on with these videos. So, you have, like, the turnaround, right? Drop that kind of the turnaround sort of anywhere, okay? Well, it's like usually two spots. 1 and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, or the grandpappy, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and, okay? So 3E and a 4, or 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and, okay? But Bonham sometimes, what he used to do then, when they play live and they do all this really cool stuff, you hear this in a lot of the live recording. So I'd be like, God, I wish I had a metronome I could pop on. So like 1, 2, 3, 4. So try to keep it in your head. 3, 4, 1. Actually a good, if you can practice doing that, it'll really kind of give you some insight into his playing. But even apart from that, the way I actually think about it is to a practical thing. I mean, and I don't mean it like in a shriny way. Oh, Bonham did that. Oh, wrong hand. Which is fine and dandy. Don't get me wrong. You know, I adore Bonham and everything. But the key, ultimately, though, is incorporate in your playing. If you like it, incorporate it in your playing. And then take, even if you develop a style from that. That's the key, right? Okay. So, if you can practice that. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you just keep doing that, it'll sort of give you, I mean, it's obviously a funk thing, right? But it's sort of a, kind of the nature of it is sometimes it would sort of be, he'd always come out on the 1. So he'd do that, and then sometimes when stuff is going on, you'd think like he'd get, and it probably did get lost. In fact, you read articles and stuff, he's like, well, sometimes Bonham do something to get lost, you know? But when you didn't get lost, it's really neat. Even that fill in Stairway to Heaven Live from Song Remains the Same, he throws in that mojo in there too. He does the bottom turnaround. You know, da da da, da da da, da 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 da, boom ba, boom boom ba ba, boom ba 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 ba, boom ba 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 ba, right? It's there, okay? And here's a good example too. In the BBC version of Since I've Been Loving You, which is one of the finest sound, that BBC, what they did at the Paris Theatre in London in 1971, I think on April Fool's Day. I think that is like the ultimate, to me, my opinion, everyone has their own opinion, Zeppelin sound, not just the sound, but the way they all played. You know, Stairway to Heaven, Since I've Been Loving You, the whole Immigrant Song, it's just so beefy. But that is like ultimate. You can hear in the, and Since I've Been Loving You Too, there's a fill there where he busts into sort of the turnaround jumble everywhere. You know, like, it's like, that final, like, okay, now I might have, in my freaking out spasticness, I might have messed the time up on it. But the point is he puts that in there too. It's in a lot of that stuff. You know, there's another. Anyway, my point is in this video. I actually do have a point. I try to. Is if you want to sort of get, and it's great to work on your time too, to just kind of fart around the turnaround in different spots. It'll really sort of, again, it'll give you insight into that type of playing, we'll say. But it's also really neat to put in, I mean, it does, again, a lot of the Bonham stuff doesn't fit sometimes in a lot of the regular, well, not regular music, but sometimes his playing very much fit Zeppelin's style and the musicality, right? I mean, what in a great band, apart from the luck of getting signed usually or getting discovered or whatever that used to happen, every player that comes in has a specific ingredient that fits just perfectly. You know what I mean? 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals infinity, instead of like 1 plus 1 equals, you know, 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4, whatever the hell it is. But that goes for other great bands. A lot of great bands, everybody just sort of fits together perfectly, and you get this huge thing that is just more valuable than some of its components. So, as it goes with this kind of stuff, is it doesn't necessarily fit everything, but there's a certain kind of blues rock that it works perfectly for. And it'd be interesting, I'm sure, like, if I had any jazz chops, I'm sure you could probably work in some cool little Bonham-y stuff, some Bonham jazz hybrid, where I'm sure a lot of jazz guys have to watch this be like, oh, you must be joking. But I'm dead serious. If John Riley or one of these guys is a big Bonham fan, just firing around with some of these little motifs, it might sound pretty freaking cool. All right, so to get some practice in there, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can decompress. You can just loop the first variation and the second variation. Count through that last one. I'm not Steve Smith, but you know what I'm saying? So that is a good turn. Just do the regular turnaround first, and then the one that starts a little later. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and, okay? Boom ba boom boom ba boom ba boom boom ba boom boom ba boom ba boom boom ba boom boom ba boom boom ba can spice it up. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like a jumble of you can almost mouth it like boom boom ba 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 boom ba 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 boom ba 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 boom ba 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 boom 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 ba ba boom ba boom ba 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 boom ba 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 boom ba boom ba ba ba. It's that, you know what I mean? It's kind of fun to play, but it'll really help iron out your time. Too. That's an added bonus. It will. Anything you can practice that's musical. Okay, and I'm dead serious. This is my serious phase. Anything you can do that's musical to practice rudimentary. When I say rudimentary, I don't mean like lesson 25 per se. You know what I mean? But anything you can do that's a good exercise that you can put in music in your head is really helpful. So if you're playing, let's say this, boom boom ba ba boom ba 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 boom 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 ba 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 ba, you can almost have like a horn here. You know what I mean? Have that going. I mean, it's a good spastic kind of thing. You can slow it down, you can speed it up. And by the way, that music thing goes, and I'm probably going to make a longer video on this, even though my technique sucks. But like, you can do like, I don't want to go down and get distracted, but we might as well now since I've done it. Okay? Obviously, what you can do there too is the beginning to rock and roll. You know what I mean? It's helpful if you do that instead of just thinking like, right, left, left, right, left, left, right, right, left, right, you know, because that's what happens sometimes. That's why especially the ADD drummers like myself and probably like you, it gets crazy, because sometimes if you just think of it right, left, right, left, 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 right, just try to put it like to music in your head. Okay, that's a quick aside. Anyway, so the turnaround. That's a really good groove just to sit, fool around with it. Boom, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, boom, 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 ba, boom, ba, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, boom, 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 ba, boom, 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 ba, boom, 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 ba, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, boom, 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 ba, 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 boom. Okay, you can just keep going. Do you know what I mean? And if you want to put a metronome on, it's helpful too if you want to practice to that. But it's really neat, and but it really does, especially for us die-hard Zeppelin fans. I'm telling you. Whoop. One of these days I will track down Jimmy Page and I will get him in a room and I'll say, listen, you're going to tell me every recording story you have. What mics did you use? What kit did Bonham use? Give me all the pictures you guys have. I know you have them. I want to hear the raw recordings you have. I want to hear Bonham's drums. I want to hear all the takes. I want to hear the takes of even everything in the... I want to hear everything. I want to hear like the Beatles anthology, but with Zeppelin. And actually, I'd like to hear it with a bunch of different bands. I'd like to hear it with Genesis, the Police. I'd like to hear it with the Stones. I'd like to hear it even with a lot of other tunes that are really tight, like even Boston stuff. You know, this stuff is so clean. I'd love to hear all that stuff. There's a market there, people. You know what I mean? Here's another thing, too, I'll tell you. You know, and I told this to somebody's name who I won't say, who hopefully knows who he is. Get your hands on all... You know how nowadays you can get your hands on the tracks? Well, you can, actually, like via... not garage band, you know what I mean, rock band or whatever. Have people make their own mixes. You know, now you have Lana Del, all these people like these guys, whoever the hell they are, make remixes of these tunes. And I know, all right, well, you say, oh, that's popular stuff. Well, get the tracks of older bands and stuff. I wouldn't recommend you quantize them, but if people wanted, they could. But anyway, build up other mixes. You can make other mixes and even add stuff. I said to this other person, Doug McBride, that even, you know, get your hands on an old Elvis Presley recording, get those things and add some other, you can make other mixes. But it'd be like a tribute to I mean, it's a great tune. You're not necessarily taking away from it. And those people shouldn't care because they'll still get their cut of the royalties, right? If Jimmy Page or Sting or U2 says, all right, here, take the tracks, make another mix or something, they could sell the right to use the tracks, but also whatever final product goes out there that people may buy, make some money on it, right? Testing. I don't mean to make it all about money, but at the very least, in my sinister way, I'd get my hands on all those raw tracks. You know what I mean? Well, we all would. All right, anyway, the turnaround. You know, it's so funny. I realize now, well, I've always realized, but my right foot very much rushes. Well, I rush anyway, but anyway, so... That's the video, okay? So, hopefully Jimmy Page, you get your hands on this and give us those tracks. Actually, everybody. I want everybody's freaking tracks. I want to hear the takes they did, how many they did. Back in the day when they used to record, you know, when they do the tape and they'd splice everything, when they did stuff, all right, what happened, how many times, you know, did they do the take, all right, what fill did they make? I love that stuff. Not even just Zeppelin. I mean, everybody. So, again, the turnaround, boom, boom, bop, boom, boom. Yeah. Boom, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, boom, 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 ba, boom, boom, da, 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 da. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, or 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 4 E and, okay? So that is actually quite a valuable gem with the bottom turnaround. Misnomer, if you want to come up with a different name, let me know. So, I hope you like the videos. And keep coming back if you can, because I'm going to make a whole bunch more.